thank you for joining us. Multiple people were injured in a workplace shooting in Aurora, Illinois Friday. The shooter, Gary Martin, was found dead at the scene. He opened fire at a business that manufactures industrial equipment. Adriana Diaz has the latest.
Aurora is requesting as many ambulances as possible for an active shooter with many injuries.
The shooter opened fire at the Henry Pratt Manufacturing Company, about 40 miles west of Chicago, this afternoon.
A total of 5 officers were struck by gunfire. The other officers on the scene located gunshot victims inside the building. At this time, we have confirmed that 5 victims are deceased.
Margie Saldana lives nearby.
We saw a squad car coming really, really fast, and I told my husband, let's get inside because something was happening.
What I saw was the guy running down the aisle and with a pistol and with a laser on it.
John Probst told a local Chicago station that he works in the facility. He says the shooter did too.
One of the guys was up in the office and he said that the person was shooting and he come running down and he was bleeding pretty bad, and the next thing you know, he went walking back up front, and we heard more shots.
At least 5 area police departments responded.
Former Chicago police officer Dimitri Roberts joins me now. Dimitri, witnesses say the suspect was an employee of the business. What does this tell you?
Well, it tells us that he looked at this as a soft target. Obviously, this is stemming from probably some workplace violence or some issues that were going on there that we're not exactly familiar with at this point. But the fact that he had a laser on his weapon and the fact that he sounds like he targeted some folks there that unfortunately ultimately lost their lives, sounds like this is something that was premeditated.
What will police do next with regards to an investigation, particularly with a deceased suspect?
Well, there's a lot to do, but the first thing they need to figure out is to make sure that this wasn't part of a bigger plot or a bigger operation to target other soft targets or other folks that may be a part of this company or other subsidiaries of this particular company. But there's a lot of evidence gathering that needs to happen, a lot of witness statements. So these officers and these federal agents are going to have their hands full for quite some time.
These shootings have become all too common. What protocol do officers follow in active shooter situations?
Well, there's many, but the first and foremost, we want to make sure that the scene is secure and that any persons other than law enforcement, people are safe. You want to get in, you want to secure the scene, secure the perimeter, and you want to render that scene safe. From there, you want to obviously make sure that there is no other active situations going on, and you want to work to get ahead of them if they are. So the protocol for most officers is pretty standard, which is why you can see a number of federal and local agencies coming together and working pretty succinctly in clearing a scene and making sure that any other civilians that may be involved are safe. We pretty much go through the same training across the board, which was mandated many years ago, but it's worked pretty well to make sure that these scenes are turned around as fast as they can.
You're a former police officer. What advice do you have for the public who are in fear right now when it comes to preparing for situations like this?
Well, you really want to take 3 steps. And the first is to be vigilant in any scenario that you do. The second is to pre-plan and think through as many situations as you can to keep both you and your family safe. And the third is just to follow the authorities' directions and some best practices that are out there that talk about active shooter situations. You're right that these situations have become more too common. And again, I can't stress enough that it's important to pre-plan and really think outside the box in any scenario that you may be in, because as we know, this could happen anywhere to anyone.
Dimitry Roberts.